This is our content literacy project by Liliana Villalpando.
And Katie Hedrick.
To overview, our unit will be covering a science unit for second graders that discusses the different properties of matter while also integrating language arts by the reading of informational text. We'll be teaching to the standards that students will obtain, evaluate, and communicate information about the properties of matter and changes that occur in objects, while also participating in shared research and writing projects. For example, reading a number of books on a single topic to produce a report and record science observations. The learning objectives we have for our students are that students can explain the properties of matter, explain the changes that occur in objects, and can do research to gain knowledge. The big idea is that throughout this unit, students will investigate and engage in research to describe the properties of matter while focusing primarily on observable characteristics like color, texture, shape, size, hardness, and flexibility. Students will actively research and create a project to show their learning.
So to start our unit off on day 1, to introduce this unit, we are going to start out by saying our learning objectives to the students and then move directly into a picture sort as a pre-assessment. If you see the pictures on the slide, the students are going to sort those into a category that makes sense to them or how they would sort them. And then after the pre-assessment, students will watch a brain pop video that reviews the different states of matter and get a little introduction to that. And then to close the day out, we're going to go over a PowerPoint that introduces some of the properties of matter and go into depth about that. And then the students will write any questions they have on a sticky note and place it on an anchor chart to close out the day.
For day 2, we will start off by discussing some of the questions that students wrote yesterday. After a brief discussion, we will move into explaining the different stations that students will be completing for their activity for the day. Station 1 will have 3 different solids, including a rock, a plastic cup, and a cotton ball. Students will be looking and making observations about these while writing down their properties in their science notebooks. Station 2 will have a bowl of water and a plate with liquid glue on it, where again, they will be writing their properties in their science notebooks. Station 3 will have a soccer ball, and students will be expected to watch a brief video of water boiling that shows the gases that arises from that. And again, students will write their observations. And then the last station will be teacher-led, where students will begin to investigate the changes that occur inside of an object through the rearranging and creating new structures from the use of building blocks. Each station will last 7 minutes with a timer on the board. And at the end of the day today, we will select 3 students to share something that they heard, saw, or observed in their stations.
On day 3, students will complete a states of matter word sort to review. Everything that we have learned so far will give us a quick check to see what students are picking up on the concept and not picking up on the concept. And you can see our worksheet on the PowerPoint. And then the whole class after that will watch another brain pop video on the changes in states and matter, and then we'll engage in a class discussion where we will talk to each other, ask questions, and answer each other's questions. And then lastly, we will then introduce informal text, what they are, informational text, and what they are and their features, and we will use our anchor chart to help students know what is expected on their text features. And then today we will end by reviewing tomorrow's lesson. Previewing. Oh my.
Day 4 will open with the review of what we've been talking about all week. Students will have a chance to share some key takeaways that they've had, some questions that they may still have, and we'll have an open discussion. We, as teachers, will then introduce the final project for this unit. We'll show an example and then assign students to the groups that they will be doing their research in. These groups will be predetermined by their reading skills and abilities. After this, students will then be given work time where they will work in their groups to engage in research using the leveled books given to them, and then will also be allowed to use their computers for online research after they have at least read 2 texts. They will be taking notes of their research on the graphic organizers that were provided to them, and some students will be provided sentence stems as necessary.
So day 5 and day 6 are both going to be work days. For day 5, we're going to start out by reviewing the instructions for the project and our expectations for the research and work time. Students are expected to finish their research in about 20 minutes. Once they're done, we're going to discuss the flip book and allow students to choose a partner from their group to create the flip book. We do have a teacher made flip book that we will go over and show as an example. In the remaining of time, students will then start working on their rough draft of that flip book, which will lead us into day 6. Students will be given the entire day to work on their rough drafts. Throughout this day, we will be walking around and addressing any misconceptions, questions students may have, and also checking if any groups are ready to begin their final drafts. We expect we're going to be checking, every student will be checked before the end of the day. Or not,
Our unit will close out on day 7 and 8. On day 7, students will be given the entire science time to be working on their final drafts and with us helping where we are needed. And then day 8 will be our presentation day. This is when students will present with their groups what they have worked on in their completed version of their flip books.